Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. When the season ends, it's always time to do what everybody loves, and that's drop a way too early top 25, okay? Now, what I will tell you is that things are always subject to change. I actually dropped my first version of my top 25 on Monday night after the title game. I could tell you since then there is already movement. There is a new team in the top 20, in the top 10, that we'll get into in a minute. But what I would say is this is always subject to change. We are recording here on Wednesday, April 9th at about 6 p.m. Eastern time. By 7 p.m., we could have teams falling and rising faster than you know what to do with. So it's always subject to change. If you don't hear your favorite team in here, don't get mad at me. Tell your coach to get to work. This ain't on Torres. This is on him. But with that said, let's get to my first version of my top 25. Again, I posted one at AaronTorresOnline.com, but we have already made some changes. But here is Torres's way too early top 25 for 2025, 2026, always subject to change. We'll update this periodically through the spring, but let's go ahead and get into my top 25. We'll really do about the top 10 or so and then kind of be quick on everybody else. Number one in the way too early top 25. So I'll be honest, this actually has changed since Monday night. Going into the night, I had Houston as the number one team in my way too early top 25. At the time, it felt a little bit ridiculous. They just lose that heartbreaker. You can't put them at number one going into next year. But with hindsight, with a day, and with a commitment in the portal, I have Houston as my number one team right now on April 9th going into 2025, 2026, always subject to change. First of all, to me, the important thing is, yes, Houston is going to lose guys like everybody is. LJ Cryer is gone. Jawan Roberts, program stalwart, is gone. But I saw Evan Miyakawa put out a tweet on Tuesday afternoon where he basically said, look, every champion of the portal era returned over 50% of their production from the previous year, and it looks like Houston may track to do the same. 4 of their top 6 players off Monday night's title runner-up are back next season. Emmanuel Sharp, who we know had a very tough Monday night. We're not here to relive Monday night. We've already talked about that plenty. He is set to come back. He was the second leading scorer on that team, and frankly, he is a really good player, and you feel awful with the way his season ended, but it doesn't change the fact that that dude is a stud. 13 points per game, 41% three-point shooting. Milos Uzan. Now, he's the guy probably if anybody is going to potentially go to the NBA off of this team, it's him. Starting point guard. He is projected to be back. We will monitor that. JoJo Tugler. Remember, he was the one guarding the out of bounds that Duke couldn't get the ball in on Saturday night. He also had that big putback dunk. He is projected to be back. And Terrence Arsenault, who I believe one day will be an NBA player, is projected to be back as well. So Houston is number one. Also worth noting, 3 top 25 prospects. It's interesting. I was talking to somebody at the NCAA tournament at the Final Four who covers recruiting in the Texas area. It'll be interesting to see how Kelvin Sampson reacts to and handles coaching 5-star talent. Chris Sinak Jr., top 10 prospect. We talked about him a ton. Arkansas wanted him. LSU wanted him. Houston is the one who gets him. Isaiah Harwell, interesting player, was kind of a top 3, top 5 kid, has had some injuries, but really talented. He comes in. Kingston Fleming's a 5-star from the Houston area as well. So I bring it up because Houston right now is my way too early top 25. It's early. It's subject to change. We'll see what happens in the portal. We'll see what happens with, oh, by the way, added Pop Isaacs from Creighton. Started his career at Texas Tech. Now went to Creighton last year, now at UH. So Houston right now is number one. Number 2 in my way too early top 25. Oh, it is the team that everybody says Torres hates, but going into 2026, I love them. It is the Purdue Boilermakers, okay? So Purdue, listen, I'll say this about Purdue is that in my opinion, first of all, I don't hate Purdue. Let's get that out of the way. There was some issue with me and Purdue fans about my coverage of Zach Edey, but that's okay. It's no big deal. And I just bring it up to say Purdue is going to return a ton of talent. First of all, let's remember this. Purdue this year played, they easily could have beaten Houston in the Sweet 16 and been playing to go to a second straight Final Four. So let's give them credit where it's due. But I think the big thing to know, they did lose a couple kind of rotational pieces to the portal. The best point guard in college basketball is Braden Smith. I know there's some like weird rumors that he's going to enter the portal. I just don't see it. And if I'm wrong, oh, believe me, we will have plenty of content on that. But this is a guy, Braden Smith, 16 points per game, 9 assists per game, 39% three-point shooting. He was the best point guard in college basketball this year. Trey Kaufman-Renn stepped in very nicely for Zach Edey at the center spot. Also worth noting, Daniel Jacobson, 7'2", 7'3", was supposed to be Zach Edey's replacement. He was actually out this year. CJ Cox was a nice player for them. Like I said, Miles Colvin, Cam Heide, a few others have entered the portal, but the core is there. When you're talking about arguably the best point guard in college basketball, when you're talking about also on top of it, Trey Kaufman-Renn, one of the better big men in college basketball, Purdue to me is the number 2 team in the country. Let's get to number 3 in Torres' way too early top 25. It's the Duke Blue Devils. Know how it ended for Duke. Now, I guess if you're a Duke fan, I guess you get a little pleasure out of seeing Houston meltdown, maybe worse than you did on Monday night. But I just bring it up because I know it's easy to, Duke and John Shire and this. No. They're going to be really good again next year. Think it'll be interesting. First of all, we know the freshman class is going to be good. Cam Boozer, listen, I think it's impossible to ask anybody to be as good as Cooper Flagg, but Cam Boozer has first-team All-American potential. It's been talked about and re-talked about. Guy wins everywhere he goes, okay? And by the way, Caden Boozer, his brother as well. I don't want to dismiss the both Boozer twins, but 4 state high school championships, couple Team USA gold medals in the youth age groups, 3 straight Peach Jam championships. All those guys do is win. But I think it'll be equally interesting. A couple of those veterans at Duke could return. Tyrese Proctor could be back for a 4th year. Caleb Foster could be back. Malik Brown, who was an elite defender kind of in the post and the wing, probably will be back. So you have a couple superstar freshmen. Should mention a couple more. Shelton Henderson. They got 4 or 5 freshmen coming in. But on top of it, they have several of those key return veteran guys. And then I think what'll be interesting, Shire did an unbelievable job in the portal finding guys that fit last year. Sion James, Mason Gillis, a couple others. Just curious the work that they do in the portal. I don't think they need to get the biggest names. I just think they need to go get the guys that fit. Cam Boozer is going to be a potential All-American. Can you find guys that fit around him like you did this year with Cooper Flagg? I have Duke at number 3. Let's get to number 4 in Torres' way too early top 25. I told you on Monday night, if you read the article, San Antonio was tough, and I woke up on Saturday not feeling very well. I think I came down with a little bit of a case of Yaxel fever, baby. That's right. Yaxel Lendenberg on Saturday morning commits to Michigan. Listen, I'll tell you this. I said at the time, he's the best player in the portal. Jaden Quaintance is number 2. We'll be talking about him momentarily. Yaxel's amazing, okay? And that's a lot of the reason that I have Michigan in my top 5 right now. I think Yaxel, under Dusty May, could legitimately be a first-team All-American, could legitimately be Big Ten Player of the Year. And I say that when I say Braden Smith was just the best point guard in college basketball. So you look at Yaxel Lendenberg, okay? I think he's the do-it-all guy. Now, he, of course, is in the NBA draft. If he decides to leave college basketball, we will obviously completely reevaluate. But right now, they have Yaxel. Listen, Elliot Cadeau, to me, I understand that it didn't go as planned. Whenever you bring in a 5-star top 10 prospect, you expect bigger things. I think we just have to accept that he is a really good college point guard, even if maybe he's not an elite college point guard or a great NBA prospect. 11 points, 6 assists. You know, the 3-point shooting was better. And I just trust Dusty May inherently to figure it out with him. They do have more pieces to add. Trey McKinney, by the way, McDonald's All-American, but they do have more pieces to add. I will be curious, do they get Yaxel Lendenberg to return to college? That's obviously the big situation for them. If they don't get Yaxel back, I think we completely reevaluate where they're at. By the way, I don't know if it was Tipton. I forget who it was. Somebody put in a crystal ball that they'll land a Dai Mara from UCLA. They land a Dai Mara from UCLA. We might have to be talking about moving them up further than number 4. Again, they need a little bit more shooting. We'll see if they add a front court piece. And the big picture thing to me, they need Yaxel Lendenberg to come back, but he is that good. That is why I have Michigan at number 4 in my preseason top 25. Let's keep it going. Number 5 in the preseason top 25. I do have the Alabama Crimson Tide. Again, part of it is retention. Over the weekend, Alabama announced that 4 key players. Now, none of them are superstars. You're losing Mark Sears. You're losing Cliff Omoyori. You're losing Grant Nelson. But they're returning 4 key pieces off last year's team. I thought Aiden Holloway really played himself into a very good college basketball player this year. I think he has a chance to be really special next year, step out of the shadow of Mark Sears. You also bring back Houston Millette, shooter, was injured this year. Latrell Reitzel, shooter, who was injured this year. So better shooting next year. And then the big one, Aiden Sherrill, the big 7-footer, former McDonald's All-American. He was kind of a backup this year. Always thought it was interesting. Nate Oates always made it a point in press conferences, if he didn't play him a ton, to say, oh man, I should have played Aiden Sherrill more. What was I thinking? What was I doing? Shame on me. Basically insinuating he's a very important piece to what we do. Don't know that Alabama has a superstar, but I will say, like those pieces back. Also on top of it, I do like the portal additions early. Noah Williamson, versatile big. I think he'll be very good for them. Jaleel Bethea, remember, was a top 5 recruit in the class of 2024, went to Miami. It doesn't work out. He has since committed to Alabama. I think he could be like, first team all SEC kind of player if it clicks for him at Alabama. So we'll see. Listen, I think they're one. The thing about Bama, I think their roster's sort of largely set for this year. I don't know that they have a superstar right now. I don't know if they plan on adding a superstar. Should mention Jaren Stevenson did enter the portal earlier in the day on Wednesday, so we will discuss his future next. But really like the pieces that Nate Oates has. Really like the continuity. Again, I think we're underrating how important it is to bring back players. Just ask the Florida Gators, who really only added one key piece last offseason in Elijah Martin. I have Alabama at number 5. Number 6, moment of truth. Get ready, Big Blue Nation. Here we are. I have the Kentucky Wildcats at number 6. And listen, I had them about 14 on Monday night. And so to me, listen, I thought on Monday, first of all, I'll say this. Number 6, part of it is we're assuming Otega Owe returns to college basketball. If he goes pro, and again, always subject to change. Right now, I think the projections really do have him coming back. He needs to come back for them to stay where they are right now. But to me, I really felt like they were really a star piece away from being really interesting at Kentucky. Well, they had Jaden Quaintance, okay? And we spent a bunch of time talking Jaden Quaintance on Tuesday. I got home, told you, went to the dog park and came back and talked Jaden Quaintance, okay? That was my Tuesday after the Final Four. Dog park, Jaden Quaintance. But he's that dude. Now, we know he's coming off the knee injury. We talked about it. I've been told he's already ahead of schedule, got the surgery about 3.5 weeks ago, and that right now the projection is he'll be back on the court by August and hopefully ramping up for the start of the season. You don't need him to be great day one. You hope that by February into March, he is the superstar that we know that he can be. I think more importantly to me, what I love about what Mark Pope has done, I think he's gotten more athletic. Listen, Kentucky fans, this is not a knock. But by the end of last year, when Lamont Butler was hurt, when Jackson Robinson was out, I just felt like you didn't have enough dog in you, and it's not a knock. It's just a reality. As you went out on the court and you saw how much bigger and more physical and more athletic Alabama was in the SEC tournament, how much bigger, more athletic, physical Tennessee was. I just thought you needed some dudes. And so you add Mo Diabate, dog, just a dog. He's just going to get after it. He's going to play hard for 28, 30 minutes, whatever Mark Pope plays him. Then you add Jaden Quaintance. You add Jalan Lowe earlier this week. I thought that Mark Pope, and I think it's strategic and I think it's smart, he's sacrificing a little bit of skill for athleticism and toughness. Listen, skill is great, but some of the guys, and we don't have to relitigate last year and make people feel bad about how the season ended, but there were some guys that, were good on certain nights, but you just couldn't rely on a night in, night out basis. I think this team is going to be tougher, more athletic, and I think they still have a piece to add. We're going to get to the portal stuff in a minute. By the way, we could have breaking portal news at any point, but I do have Kentucky at number 6. I actually really like what Mark Pope is doing. Get more athletic, get a little tougher, and I really like where they're at. Number 7 in the way too early top 25, another team that we'll be talking about throughout this show, the Arizona Wildcats. Okay, so Arizona, I had at number 4 on Monday night. I think even Arizona fans were like, Torres, that's a little bit aggressive. Couple things with Arizona. One, Jaden Bradley, their starting point guard, I do expect to return. Koa Pete, the 5-star McDonald's All-American, committed late 2 weeks ago on Pat McAfee. And then on Tuesday, they added Braden Burries. We're going to dive into Braden Burries deeper later in the show. But guy that can play on the ball, can play off the ball. I think he is going to be a perfect fit alongside Caleb Love. Caleb Love's gone. But I think he's going to be a perfect fit alongside Jaden Bradley. big guards, athletic guards, can finish at the rim. Braden Burries is a very good shooter. I think Koa adds toughness. Speaking of toughness, you have Toby Awaka down low. And then, of course, you expect Krivas back at the 5 spot. You did lose Henry Visar. That kind of stinks. The big thing for Arizona, what happens with Carter Bryant? Right now, we all believe that he is going to be a top 20 pick if he enters the NBA draft, but a guy that Tommy Lloyd kind of brought along slowly. If he comes back to college, and there's a lot of speculation, a lot of buzz out of Arizona that he's actually leaning towards returning, that dude comes back. First of all, he could be like National Player of the Year type good. Like he could be first team All Big 12 National Player of the Year, but he kind of is that star that you need. I think second year, I've made the comparison a million times. I was at UConn when Rudy Gay was there. Rudy Gay had all the tools as a freshman, became a star as a sophomore, and then went on to an 18-year NBA career. That's who I see Carter Bryant being. You need him back. If you get him back, it certainly gets interesting. Number 7, way too early, top 25. Arizona's one-time Pac-12 rival, the UCLA Bruins. Listen, UCLA, big addition a few weeks ago with Donovan Dent. Listen, I don't know all the details on how it went down, but credit Mick Cronin, that big Mick energy, baby. He came up with the money that I didn't know he had to land Donovan Dent. He closes Donovan Dent, and we are talking about, I believe Donovan Dent, I said it all season at New Mexico. That dude could play anywhere in college basketball, and now he's headed to the Big Ten. You add him in with a team that now includes Tyler Bilodeau, your leading scorer, is back. You added Xavier Booker in the portal as well. Remember, that is a player that was at Michigan State, big, athletic, kind of that rim protector that you lost with Adai Mora. And so you look at that team, I think they become a very interesting team with Donovan Dent. UCLA at number 8 in my way too early top 25. Number 9 in my way too early top 25, the now no longer two-time defending champion UConn Huskies. Listen, first of all, I'll say this. I think there's a little bit of a new fire in the belly of Dan Hurley after not hoisting that trophy on Monday night in April, okay? First of all, I give him credit. I gave a shout-out to Todd Golden on a successful first national championship. And Dan Hurley had some interesting comments really over the last couple weeks about basically the idea of, my off seasons have been pretty crazy the last few years, throwing out first pitches, ringing stock market bells, all that. And he's like, it's time to get back to work. I think for UConn, it's really been a best case scenario all off season. The guys you wanted back have all announced they're coming back. We had Solo Ball, second leading scorer, 41% 3-point shooter. I think he's an all Big East type guy. Terrace Reed, a guy that late in the season, the stats don't blow you away, but he transferred in a year ago, took him a while to get going. He had 24 and 18 against Providence late in the year. He'll be your starting center. You get back Jalen Stewart, and then most recently, Jaden Ross, kind of a wing player that, not super gifted offensively, but he's kind of a switchable defensive guy. And Dan Hurley has said publicly, like, I think this guy's the next one to make a jump. So you get the 4 guys back. You add 4 high-profile freshmen, 3 McDonald's All-American, 1 coming from Europe, headlined by Braylon Mullins. And then I think most importantly, you needed a big guard, lead guard. You get it in Silas DeMary Jr., of course, who played at Georgia. So maybe I'm underrating UConn a little bit because, again, I keep talking about retention, but I really like how this roster is coming together. Now, DeMary wasn't a guy that always had the ball in his hands, so it'll be interesting to see how he handles that transition. I still think UConn is trying to add a piece or two. Saw they were talking to Malachi Smith, who, of course, played at Dayton this year. They're probably going to add a little bit more scoring to that roster, bench scoring more than anything. But I think they got a really good team. I may be underrating them at number 9, but we'll see what happens. UConn at number 9. By the way, even in a down, I should mention, there's like real buzz that Alex Karaban is coming back. Alex Karaban, starter on the 2 national championship teams, came back this year, was playing well, got a concussion, was never really the same after that. There's buzz he's coming back. So we'll see what happens with that. I have UConn at number 9. That might be a little bit too high. Finally, rounding out my top 10 in the way too early top 25, those Louisville Cardinals. Another team maybe I'm a little low on. I thought putting me in the top 10 would be like, Torres loves the cards. Torres is Mr. Card, the card man. Then I saw a bunch of top 25s had him at like number 3, number 4, number 6, whatever. I really like this group from Pat Kelsey. First off, we've talked about the portal additions. We've talked about the fact that they have added Ryan Conwell, 15-point per game scorer from Xavier. We talked about the fact they added Adrian Woolley, guard from Kennesaw State, who Alabama desperately wanted. He is from Tuscaloosa, and he chose Louisville. And then on top of it, you also had Isaac McNeely, one of the best three-point shooters in all of college basketball. That's on top of the fact that Mikel Brown Jr., top 10 prospect, 5-star McDonald's All-American point guard, is coming in. And then the good news is Javon Hadley you got back over the course of the last couple of days. So Javon Hadley was one of those JUCO kids. Shout out Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt quarterback that's getting all these JUCO kids the bonus year of eligibility. So Javon Hadley's coming back. You know, Keyshawn Pryor, however you pronounce his name. I'm sorry if I tripped it up. Louisville fans, don't crush me. But Keyshawn Pryor, could get another year of eligibility. I think they're working on that. I really like this team. Listen, veteran, older, elite shooting. I think Louisville has a chance to be a breakout team. Really quickly, I'm just going to give you my next 5, because this stuff is so subject to change that it's just too much to try to project the whole 20. By the way, I had teams in the top 25 that right now couldn't even fill out a starting 5. That's how much roster building there is still to be done. But let's get to the next few teams. Number 11, Creighton. Creighton, big additions. Nobody was a bigger winner from Iowa firing Fran McCaffrey, no disrespect to Coach McCaffrey, than Creighton. They get 2 of Iowa's, basically the 2 best players at Iowa that still had eligibility. Josh Dix, an elite three-point shooter. Owen Freeman, a big man. They both go to Creighton. I think Creighton still needs one more guard. Jackson McAndrew, by the way, was a breakout NCAA tournament star. So I'm here to tell you Creighton's going to be really good in the Big East. Number 12 in the top 2 early top 25, I have, who do I have here? Producer Matt, pop up the logo because I forget who I have at number 12. The old BYU Cougars. Torres a little Cougar crazy. I'll tell you this. BYU is on commit watch right now for a big name player. We will talk about him in a minute, but I am working under the assumption that Rob Wright, of course, is going to eventually transfer to BYU. We're going to discuss him in a minute. I'm also working under the assumption that Richie Saunders, the Tater Tot man, is coming back for another year of college basketball. You team him with AJ DeBonsa. That is a ferocious team. By the way, if BYU gets Rob Wright, they will move up. Right now, I don't have them projected with Rob Wright because it hasn't been announced yet. Maybe it will be at some point. Number 13 in the 2 early top 25, it is, you already know, the Arkansas Razorbacks. So first of all, with Arkansas, I think everybody at Arkansas is just waiting on pins and needles. Adu Thiero, Boogie Fland are both going pro. Now we're just waiting to see who's going to come back. I think right now, if I had to project, Carter Knox is back. Billy Richmond is back. Trevin Brazil is back. And of course, they have a 4-man recruiting class headlined by McDonald's All-Americans, Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas. X factor for me, DJ Wagner. I think it's crazy that he might not be back. If I'm John Calipari, listen, I try not to criticize Cal because he has a bunch of success. If DJ's leaving because there's not room for him in the backcourt with the 2 5-star freshmen, you got to tell one of the 5-star freshmen you got to take a hike. I'm sorry, you just have to. But I bring it all up to say that they are still going to have a really good team. By the way, I think they're quietly making moves on Nate Ament. So there's a lot of work to be done. They are on commit watch for a commit in the portal as well, which we'll discuss here in just a moment. But I have Arkansas at number 13. We'll be quick here. Number 14, St. John's Red Storm. They have more moves to make. We know that they have Zuby Ejiofor. We know that Bryce Hopkins has committed from Providence. I think they're probably going to get Ian Jackson. I'm just going to say it. New York City kid from the New York tri-state area, obviously played at North Carolina, was up and down. It feels like that's where it's trending. I think he might even be taking a visit. I don't know if that's official yet. They would still need another guard, I think. But right now I have St. John's at number 14. That's another one that I could see moving up. Number 15, Iowa State. You know, I in some ways I feel bad for Iowa State. They were kind of built for this year. They do lose Keyshawn Gilbert. They do lose Curtis Jones, but Taman Lipsey's back. Joshua Jefferson is back as well. I have Iowa State at number 15. Tell you what, we'll stop at 15 for now. You can go to AaronTorresOnline.com for the rest of the way too early top 25. Subject to, by the way, the top 25 I have posted is already outdated. Just take it with a grain of salt. I'll probably do version 2 on Thursday or Friday. But yeah, stuff's always subject to change in that way too early top 25. Check it out. Version 2 probably coming sometime later this week. Yeah, that's all I got on the top 25.